Welcome to another episode of Academy TV. Today we're talking about starting a new business. Starting a new business is not for the faint-hearted. I've done it more than once now and across several countries, and nothing has ever tested me more. I wouldn't mind betting that most of you watching this video have had a great business idea at some time or another, and that the same people also have no clue where to start. Well, you're not alone. And if I've learned anything from launching and running the Academy, it's that lots of people have great ideas. But taking a great idea and turning it into something that can get customers and money, well, that takes work. And when you're at square one, sometimes the hardest part of getting things off the ground is simply figuring out exactly what that work should look like. I remember when I first started my business, I would literally cling to any free advice I could get. With a few $100s and on an already overspent credit card to my name, I couldn't exactly afford to invest. So I want to share my advice with all those wedding pros in the making who were where I was 15 years ago. Whilst I don't have a business degree, and when I started the Academy I didn't have savings to invest either, or any connections to speak of at all, the secret is that the early stuff, the fundamental information you need to get things started, usually comes from experience. And it's way better to learn from someone else's mistakes than your own. So I have boiled down everything I've learned over the years into 9 questions that can help you figure out if you're ready to take your idea somewhere. Because the first step of getting other people to take your business seriously is to take it seriously yourself. So do you have a problem? Every good idea starts with a problem that you personally have. When I started as a wedding planner all those years ago, there was no training available, no course I could take to help me get my business off the ground. So I knew that I at least had that problem. Is your problem worth solving? You have to make sure that there are enough other people who have also had the problem that you've had. Can you prove those people would pay enough for the solution to make it a viable business model? Have you done the research on your customer? Do you know who your customer is? Do you know and understand their pain point and how your idea can help them? You must figure out your niche and how this will work with your idea. Your customer is not any bride, it is a certain type of bride, and you need to figure that out. Have you done the research on the industry? I know with a lot of people, their first instinct is to say, oh, I don't want anyone to steal my idea. But ideas are really easy. A good idea is only 1/10 of what makes a business successful. So much of it is how you execute and just simply perseverance. Talk to other wedding pros and ask them, how do you get customers? Read everything. Look for blogs that relate to starting a business. Here are a couple to get you started. Evolve your wedding business. Book more brides and Planners Lounge. Now it also helps to look at companies and industries that aren't exactly the same as yours. Maybe they're similar but not exactly the same. Are there any other business models where someone has catered to your market? Look at any kind of parallel and see how they did it. Can you justify the numbers? You must do your maths. If the numbers don't stack up, then you aren't in business. You're playing with a great hobby. Don't make the mistake of thinking, if you build it, they will come. You will more than likely need to pay to acquire customers. You pay in marketing or you pay in giveaways. And you don't need to have a business degree to figure out these numbers. Are you prepared for rejection? I remember thinking that every single person who came onto our website was a customer. The hardest part of starting your own business is putting yourself out there, knowing not everyone is going to like your idea. The amount of people who say yes, either to your product or your business, is going to be very small. I've had hundreds of meetings over the years where people have told me no, but it just makes 1 or 2 to make a difference. Have you got a sales pitch? It can be easy to get tongue-tied when you're not used to doing this, but it can also give you verbal diarrhea. Avoid over-explaining things. When you're in the thick of it, it's easy to get caught up in every single detail. But what's the core thing you do? Keep it short, sweet, and simple, and if possible, 1 sentence is perfect. Do you have a logo? No, not really. A logo is the last thing you need. First, you just need to build a business, prove that it's viable, and then you can make it pretty. Before the logo, you need to prove the business works on a really small scale. Because if you try to get it all perfect from the start, before you know your business really well, you are liable to make mistakes that will impact your business down the line. Are you ready? I think everyone who has a business is unsure of themselves. And I think the biggest thing to realise is that everyone feels this way. And the people who seem the most confident are actually the most insecure. But once you start to make friends with people, you realise everyone feels the same way. Because you're putting yourself out into the world and saying, judge me. In short, if you're thinking of making the jump, definitely do your homework first. But if you're convinced the business is viable, then make the jump and don't worry about it. I think a lot of what people fear is this nagging thought, if my business is unsuccessful, did I just kill my career? What will I do then? What I underestimated back then was what I would learn. What I underestimated was how much more employable I am now than I would have been if I had stayed at my job. Because just going out there in the world to create something, you learn so much. In fact, I think that's the last bit of advice I'd offer. To get back into the habit of learning. Because when you're small, when you're a kid, you're constantly trying to absorb information. You're a sponge. And with my business, I was always trying to do the same thing. Always ask why.